All right, chat and everybody coming in here. Thank you all for joining us today. Once again, you guys, you've seen him before. J. Edgar, thanks again for joining again on this, what is it, episode 19 today. Episode 19. How are we doing today?
I'm doing good. I got the new Once Upon a Tea came in
So
last
cute.
night after work, so
So cute. Yeah, I just found out about this. He was telling me right before his stream, Once Upon a Tea. Such a cute name. And like you said, right, once they put up, like for sale, like you don't see him ever again.
yeah, they're only available for a week.
Man, it is so cute. I have something like that, but um I don't know what console it is. It could be something similar. I don't remember. I have to go look, but I've worn it and like the dryer always ruins it. So I have like, there's a fabric that like basically disintegrates like it's not like a t-shirt press, right? You have the design on there, but this was kind of cheaply made. So I have to get mine that's like ingrained in there. Ingrained so it doesn't destroy in the dryer. Mind you, I do hate laundry, and I think it takes me like 10 days to actually fold away my clothes after I'm done doing it. I can clean toilets. I can clean anything. Love it. I actually enjoy cleaning so much, but with laundry, it takes 10 business days for me to fold and put away. I'm not gonna lie. It's my least favorite. Today, guys, we have a fun discussion, which is going to be the worst games ever in history, what we think, what the internet thinks, and what people who have been sending me DMs think. And we're going to be reading those out later in the show. But first of all, we got our news, and it was a big news week since we were gone last week. So we got some fun things to talk about, which is starting with the PlayStation Portal. It's a remote player, and it's going to cost $200 to basically take their handheld, which is not really a handheld. It's an upped remote play. I don't know. Did you hear about this or no?
Unfortunately, I have been very, very buried with work, but
I
this
got you.
sounds, and I just kind of looked it up right now, and it looks like a possible answer to the Switch.
Yeah, it is, but it's not because the Switch you can actually take. And I want to explain this. So starting off, we have the PS5's remote play feature that lets you play your games as long as you have access to your Wi-Fi and your PS5 is on somewhere and connected to the internet. So like, for example, as long as your PS5 is on and running on Wi-Fi, you can either be in the same house or take it with you on the go as long as you're connected to steady Wi-Fi. Once this was called Project Q, and now they kind of axed that, and it's now the PlayStation Portal Remote Player. And for those that have Remote Player, you get the app and you can access your consoles via phone, but this will allow you to have like the controller with it, which it comes with the full features such as the DualSense controller, adaptive triggers, and haptic feedback. It also has a 3.5 millimeter audio jack and will use an 8-inch LCD screen streamed at 1080p at 60 FPS. And that is, of course, depending on your internet. So the internet connection has to be at least 5 Mbps, but they said that 15 is better. Okay. And right. And I have a picture of what this looks like. There you go. It's what it would look like. You kind of have the PS5. It's basically a PS5 controller with the huge gap in the center. And then that is the screen that comes in it. But the problem I have with this is like, it's not really a handheld. I loved the PSP. I think it was my favorite handheld ever. I thought it was one of the most successful. The Vita wasn't as successful as the PSP, but it's something I still play, and I thought it was genius. Like, I absolutely love the PSP. My favorite, hands down. Could take it anywhere. This is not really offline gaming, right? The whole point of handheld is to get it off the internet and you take it with you on the go. So, like, I don't like that aspect of it. With the Switch, do you need to be with the internet? Because I don't have a Switch.
I don't think so. I don't have one yet either, but I know people that do. And I mean, the Switch Lite, from what I've seen, and I know people that do have one, does function by itself as a true handheld, something you can take with you as you go. The Switch, as far as I know, as long as you have the Joy-Cons, yeah, you can take that with you anywhere as well. It's just that's also got the functionality to hook up to your TV and at home.
Right. That's just really cool. Love that. That is really cool. And I mean, I love that. And the problem with PlayStation, you think $200 was expensive. Wait till you hear this. They're doing on their BS again, which they revealed that they have a new set of earbuds, which is called Pulse Explorer, and they have the Pulse Elite. And those retail for $200 or $150, depending if you want the earbuds or, over the ear headphones. And if you're planning to use this portal wirelessly, you need these handhelds as they will not use Bluetooth, making you, you only can use their products, which they did for the camera, because the PS3, you could put in any USB camera and it would work. But starting from the PS4 and on, it was like you have to use Sony's products. So that's like extra money put into it. And another problem is the battery longevity is actually unknown on how long this can take without a charge. And the release date is November 13th of this year. And I want to let people know, if you think like 200 is out of this world, because I think it is, you can buy something that I have actually and that I use often. This backbone. You can use a backbone. It's $100. And you literally, I have one for iPhone. They have it for Android too. And I know the iPhone 15 with like USB-C is coming out. So I basically just need to get, because I'm rocking iPhone 11 still. I'll just need to get like a cheap $1 adapter from like Temu or something. So that's not a big deal. Basically spread this. You put the iPhone in the middle and everything you have, like joysticks. I got my R2, R1, everything. I mean, it looks like exactly like a Sony, right? Controller. The cool thing about this is Backbone is actually a service, so you don't have to pay for it. I don't, because I only play my games on the go. But I do take this out of the house. Yeah, so if you want to pay the Backbone, it's like $80 a year. You get all of their game libraries and everything you can get on your phone via the app. So it's like memory is not a big deal. And the really cool thing about it is there's a slot right here. And this slot allows me to plug in my iPhone charger and it'll charge as I play. So like you don't need a full battery. And honestly, the battery is not terrible depending, I guess, on your phone. But if I want to, all I got to do is plug in. I don't need, because this takes the port that goes into your phone, but you can literally charge it as you play. And it's so cool. $100. Now I think they have it for iPhone 15s, but like I said, all I gotta do is get an adapter. And Temu has it, which I don't know if you shop at Temu, but the deals there are kind of, it's like ridiculously cheap. Mind you, it does come from China.
I was gonna say, there was something else that was similar to Temu, and I can't remember what it was called, but was it Wish? That's what it was.
Wish, yeah.
Yeah.
But Temu, literally, they'll sell. I mean, I get a lot from there. I'm shamefully. But, like, I mean, Amazon, where do you think Amazon gets their products to, right? It's not like these are American-made products. But Backbone, guys, $100 if you don't want to get the PlayStation Portal. I mean, my iPhone 11, it's like 6.6 inches of a screen. I'm sure that they're bigger now. I really don't use my phone that much to care. But, like, I'm sure the iPhone 14 and all that will have the same, almost close, if not to the 8-inch. But yeah, you don't really need it, but that's what they have. November 15th, if you're interested. But moving on to Xbox news. I don't know if you heard this, but Xbox Game Pass Core is replacing Xbox Live Gold. Basically, Xbox Live Gold members will be automatically transferred across to the new subscription, which is priced at the same rate of $9.99 a month or $60 a year. And it has discontinued its games with the gold perk in favor of 36 games that come bundled with the subscription. And this list will be updated 2 to 3 times a year, which is kind of weird that, like, you know, here's like a list of 36 games, such a specific number, and you're only going to update it 2 or 3 times a year. What do you think about that?
Well, I'm not 100% sure how like the Game Pass works, because I've never done Xbox, and like the closest I've been to anything like that was Microsoft Games for Windows Live, because anybody who's played Fallout 3 on the PC knows the struggles with that game, especially since it lost all support for anything above Windows 8, and then you had to go find the bypass so you could play Fallout 3 on your PC.
My God. Well, basically, it's a subscription you pay, and like you get a list, like you get a catalog of games. But this time, it's like those people are now getting turned to this list of 36 games automatic with your subscription. So these will be there for you throughout the duration that they're available. And these 36 games will be updated 2 to 3 times a year, which honestly isn't much. I don't think. I mean, I think you should always constantly keep it fresh from a business perspective. But I have the list here for you guys. That's what we got for now. I mean, Firewatch, honestly, it's literally the whole premise is you are literally on Firewatch in the mountains, somewhere in Montana, I think, or like someplace like that. And there's like some mystery. You run into things like it's like not really action, but it gets you thinking, and you have to like solve these little cases. I just love it. I actually love it. It was like one of my favorite games. It felt like a movie. So yeah, that is there. This is the game of 36. People were kind of annoyed by this. The feedback hasn't been too positive, but we'll see as time goes on.
So my big question on this, and
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to this, is like, because of the subscription service, is it that they have X amount of games in there and then they swap them out for other games, so it's always 36 that are on the
Yes,
catalog?
that's my understanding of it.
See,
Yeah,
that wouldn't work for me.
that wouldn't work for me either. I think, but this is
No,
the
I take
standard.
months on games.
This is the standard, and I have the price point because I don't do Xbox either. Yeah, here it is. It's like choose the plan that's right for you, and obviously the higher the tier. So this is actually not bad for it being basic, which is the $9.99, $60 a year. I mean, compared to PlayStation, which is now $80 because they actually upped it from $60, which is absolutely ridiculous. You only get your free games, and that's kind of it, and online play. Right? You get your multiplayer and all of that. So that's it. So, I mean, Xbox is offering more. Like, I agree. I think 36, once or 2 times a year is kind of not for me. But that's still offering 3 times as much as PlayStation. So, I mean, $80. He upped it to $80. It's kind of crazy. 60 was already ridiculous, especially someone like me. I mean, I think the free games that come out with your subscription on PlayStation every month are always trash, or I've already played it. And then we only get it for multiplayer, which used to be free at one point, which is crazy. And so I think 60 a year, at least you get 36 games. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's better compared to PlayStation, but on its own, it's not that exciting, right? You have to compare it to PlayStation, how bad it is to get that. But like $80 for what? I have not understood that. Like,
I don't understand the idea of game subscriptions either. Like, that's...
Yeah, I don't either.
I'd rather buy the game.
I'd rather buy, exactly. I mean, I don't like if I don't pay, like this game is going to be locked out for me. Like, I'm just going to buy it. Absolutely. Usually when it comes to my monthly game, if there's ever one I have ever gotten, I play it and then I just delete it. I don't want to deal with it. But like, if you don't want to pay the $80 a year, go to cdkeys.com and you guys can find yourself deals all throughout the year. They sell it. It's legit. I've used it every time. I get it for like 30, 40 bucks to get my yearly subscription for PlayStation off CD Keys. They basically are reselling the subscription for half the price. So if you don't want to go through PlayStation accepts it with the code because it's literally like their card as if you went to the store to buy it. It works that way. So you can save money on CD keys. Okay. So I don't know, but Nintendo Direct and PlayStation State of Play happened today. I'm just going to give you guys a quick rundown on what happened there. When it comes to Nintendo Direct, we got news that Mario and Donkey Kong are getting remade for the Switch, and that'll be available in February. You got another look at Splatoon 3 that's coming in spring 2024. Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door is also being remade for the Switch, and that's coming out next year. And the biggest news is that Peach got her own game that's coming out in March next year, 2024. And it's called Princess Peach Showtime. And she's basically able to transform into new versions of Peach with different powers. So, like, for example, like she's a detective or Kung Fu Peach. And there's other transformations that were shown, which I think Peach, it's about time she got her own game. I think it's been a long time coming. Unless she already has. I don't pay attention. Do you know?
She already has.
She has? What was it?
Super Princess Peach. For the... I can't remember if it was DS or 3DS.
Okay. Well, did you know that Daisy was made because the creator of Mario, he said his daughters fought about who would get Peach, so he created Daisy from that. Fun fact. Fun.
Really? 'Cause
yeah.
I thought it was just because they picked up a different kingdom for the Game Boy series.
No, they said that his daughters always fought about who got it, so eventually he made something for the other one.
I'm almost positive that that's maybe why she got added to Mario, like the Mario Sports and whatnot. But no, Princess Daisy was from the original Super Mario Land. That was back in 1989.
I know. That's what the creator, his daughters were young when they had created.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the daughter, I get it because, like, my sister and I have fought over everything. So, like, it's nice that they had that. But, yeah, I didn't know she had her own game. I actually have never played Peach. I was always a Luigi person. Kind of like a ride or die with Luigi. But I actually love Boo. If I'm going to be honest, Boo is my favorite Mario character ever. What about you?
For Mario characters, I mean, there's so many to pick from at this point. I was actually a big Yoshi fan, and
Yoshi,
I had
yeah?
an imaginary friend when I was in late elementary, early middle school that was based off Yoshi. So
God, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's great. And if you're a Tomb Raider fan, they're getting remastered 1 through 3 for the Switch. Those are going to be launched later on throughout the year. And I mean, there was like, I think Among Us is now getting a new update as well. It's a mushroom themed map called the Fungal. So if you're interested in that, that's also going to be coming out later on. So yeah, they had their own, which I think was pretty successful for, I always say Nintendo's always been transparent, and I always love their presentations because it's just like to the point, and they give you actual dates that are going to be used. Like, not like alluding to anything. Like, when they mean something's going to be released, then they're serious. And F-Zero is back as a 99-player battle royale, and it'll be available on Thursday. I don't know if that's today. It could be today. So yeah, that was the Nintendo Direct. And moving into PlayStation State of Play. Nothing too crazy announced here. We had Final Fantasy, was that 7 Rebirth is out on February 29th, 2024. So
they're going to make another Final Fantasy 7 again.
It looks like it, and it's going to be exclusively on PS5. But it's weird because it's going to be released on 2 different discs. I don't know what's going on there, but it will be on 2 separate discs. Weird. So they're doing another one. Yeah. No, Spider-Man.
How many remakes of Final Fantasy 7 have there been?
I kind of feel like 10. Or what feels that way, honestly. It's been a lot. Every time I read, I'm like, damn, another one. So yeah, I don't know. Square Enix also had said that they have gone under. They've lost like $2 billion as of recent. So they're kind of like sinking. So I think they just need to try to get their revenue back. Not really sure, but I did see that they are falling under. Spider-Man 2, basically new game.
That might be why we get the Mario one.
Maybe, honestly, like I think they're just gonna like throw anything to the wall, see what sticks. Bowser is the best Mario character, hands down. Honestly, Bowser's legit. I gotta say, Boo and Bowser. But
Which
like,
that actually brings up a good question now that you're talking about favorite Mario
yeah,
characters is do the Square Enix characters count? Because then my answer changes.
what is okay? Let's say for this it does. What would you say?
Then Gino, obviously.
Okay,
Gino from Mario
okay,
RPG,
yeah, okay.
who's never appeared in another Mario game ever after that.
It's true.
So
It's true.
technically he is he's a Square character, and
Inter-
I think that they own him. I don't think that that ownership got transferred to Nintendo.
I don't think so. I think you're right. Yeah, I don't think it did. Yeah, that's I've never heard someone say that, so that is the first for me. No, Bowser is legit. I mean, back in the day, you could only literally pick Mario and Luigi to play these games, right? And I always pick Luigi because Mario was shorter. It made gameplay with Luigi easier. And then, I mean, Donkey. I was just thinking,
Well, Toad and Peach and Super Mario Brothers too.
and two, but not like the first or Lost World. You can only play as Mario and Luigi. It was literally set, and then when you played on to two, yeah, it changed, and then they opened it up. Even Super Mario 3, you could only play as Mario and Luigi, or just Mario. No, it was just Mario, right?
No, it was Mario and Luigi.
It was.
If you were doing two player.
Yeah, if you were doing two player, that's right. So, I
They
mean,
played exactly the same. So like the differences in characters
right?
until no. Well, Super Mario Brothers 2 in both countries because Lost Levels, Luigi had the higher jump and was slightly slower than Mario was.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you had to play to your strength, basically. But like on Yoshi's Island, it was only Mario. You could not play as Luigi. They kind of said that. But then, yeah, I think Boo, Bowser, great. I mean, I love the like evil, and I even like the Piranha Plant. You know. But did you know? Oh, another fun fact about Mario, guys. Goomba actually means friend in Italian. So like, even though he's not really your friend, as Goombas can kill you, but you know, it's cool. I love that incorporate. I just found that out recently. If you're wondering why I'm full of fun facts. Resident Evil 4 Separate Ways DLC. It's out next week. So that'll be out September 21st. You have to pay for it, of course, not free DLC. It controls Ada Wong, and you can go play that. Oh yeah, yo Viking, we're gonna get into it. We're finishing this PlayStation news, and we're diving into the worst games. Ronaldo v Football. Man, I have never even heard of that. Was it that bad? Oh, you snapped a disc? I love it. I love hearing that. I love that. There's been a lot of games that I literally have just wanted to burn everything. Oh, PS1 Eric. I was never a football. I think the last Madden I did buy was for the PS1. It was like Madden 2000. I'm not a...
Well, this is European football. I just looked it up.
Oh, yeah, it's Ronaldo. Duh, it's Cristiano, whatever. Yeah, got you. Yeah, so I would definitely never play soccer. According to Deep Lore, Mario's a mass murdering maniac. Well, if you look at any Disney movie, it's actually all based on dark stories. Like Cinderella actually like lost her leg. It was like, it's pretty dark. So I'm not really shocked at hearing that a game adaptation of like a dark story would be, you know? I'm not shocked in that. Okay, last thing. Oh, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora got a new story trailer. I don't even know. That game is set to be out December, but knowing Ubisoft, it'll probably get delayed, most likely. Roblox is coming to PS4, and it gets to be out October 10th. Hunchback of Notre Dame was like my least favorite, I think, Disney movie ever. It was just not it. You know what I mean? I
haven't seen it.
You've never seen it? It's just not.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Yeah, I don't like, that was like my least favorite. I've never actually even seen Cinderella or Snow White or any of that. But I did see Hunchback, and nah, it's a no for me. It was all about, for me, Hercules, Lion King, Anastasia. Those are my top 3. Easily. Oh, and I guess Aladdin. But anyways, I'm getting way off topic. Basically, and Foam Stars is getting an open beta. And I'm excited for that game because you literally just take people out with bubbles, like a bubble gun. Absolutely love it. Yeah. Oh, and last thing is PlayStation 5 are getting new face plates and dual sense colors, which I have here. It is, wait, it's not this. Really pretty what it looks like. You got like a deep red, blue, and I think that's gray or silver. Oh no, it's like chrome. Okay. Silver is what they're calling it. And that'll be available on November. Oh no. The controllers will be available November 3rd, but both of them will be available January 26th of next year. And that is it. Now it's time to get into our terrible games, which I can't wait to hear what we think is the worst game of all time. Jagger, you want to start us off?
Well, you have to keep in mind that I grew up in the 90s in like the original, and like we were talking about this offline,
Right.
where you're saying how now a lot of these games you give them a pass because
It was
they
old.
were working with the technology that
Exactly.
they had, and I can't give them that pass
You can't. Well,
because
okay.
with that technology we had masterpieces like The Legend of Zelda, or even going to the Super Nintendo, A Link to the Past,
Yeah,
Star
true.
Fox, and things like that. In Donkey Kong Country, we had absolute
That was
masterpieces
a good game.
on the same technology that these hyper capitalistic, and I can't believe I'm criticizing that because I am hyper capitalistic myself.
Yeah.
But these hyper capitalistic movie and toy and Disney companies and everything else were just pumping something out that was crap just so they could get their official name onto something.
Right.
Like Sega Genesis Lion King is a good example of that. Now the Super Nintendo version, and there were always different, like they didn't put the same game across
They did
platforms.
not. Yeah, they did not.
Sega Genesis Lion King was probably one of the worst games ever put to a cartridge, whereas the Super Nintendo version was a good game. It was a fantastic game. There was licensure that went between the two, and of course, because at the time this wasn't like you could do things cross-platform like we
Right.
do on console now. Like the developers had to give you the permission to program something to their FX chip,
Yeah.
and then they weren't going to let that be sold back off to Sega.
Yeah. Right.
On the opposite, actually, Aladdin for Super Nintendo was meh, and Aladdin for Sega was probably one of their best cartridges.
Yeah, Aladdin for the Super Nintendo was pretty bland. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Like it, yeah. Also, Home Alone 2 was also only available on the Japanese version of the Super Nintendo. It was not available in the States for our version of the SNES.
It was available for our version of the Nintendo, and it was terrible. I've played it.
Really? Because every time I've looked for it, it only says Japanese model.
Yeah. I mean, I have played the Super Nintendo on emulator, but I've never played it in
Okay.
on a cartridge. But I had the Home Alone 2 cartridge for the
Damn.
original Nintendo.
I would have bought that from you. I've never played the second one. I couldn't get my hands on it.
And it was terrible. It was awful. It was the worst. It was
It was gave you the ick.
Yeah.
Viking said E.T. and that was actually on the list. Everyone was talking about how bad E.T. I have never played it, but I have heard everyone, I think, was on the consensus of everybody that E.T. was one of the worst. One of the worst. But what were you gonna say that what your worst was?
I mean, there's so many out there to choose from. I will honestly say probably the worst game that I've ever played in my life was a port of an arcade game that actually in the arcade version held up.
Okay.
But the PS1 port, there was no way to translate that out into the PS1 technology. And of course I'm talking about Area 51.
I didn't even know they had a game. That was, what did you do in there? Just like you were an alien, rolling
Area
around?
51 was an auto-scrolling shooter.
Okay.
That was put out by Atari in 1995.
Oof.
And I mean, the graphics were garbage, but I mean, they did what they could at the time.
Exactly why I give it a pat, right? That's why.
it was one of those things where it was designed to keep you feeding quarters in,
Yeah.
but because of the fact that at that time the arcade thing was starting to die out. It wasn't like you were going out
Yeah.
to the bowling alley and play the arcade game that was sitting in there. They were
Right.
trying to transfer to home console. So in '98 they translated that to Sega Saturn and PS1. And the Sega Saturn version
Mm-hmm.
was okay, but the Sega Saturn also had a decent light gun.
Got you.
To do it by to do it by PS1, if you managed to get their light gun, which was almost impossible to find, or by
Yeah.
controller,
It didn't
it
work.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, yeah, sometimes I can totally understand how that is frustrating. And that in return, right, it makes it a terrible game. I mean, we have Battle Cruiser 3000 AD allegedly had a 30,000 flame war in a single thread, spent like a decade being developed, and it's widely regarded as the most obtuse, user-unfriendly game ever. Sheesh. And we have Star Fox Command is pretty bad. That is also on the list. Yeah, internet does agree that that was a terrible game. Like I said, I give a pass to older just because, in my opinion, they worked with what they had. Like, I mean, I do think if I'm going to go with the worst Super Nintendo game, it was NHL. The hockey was literally unplayable from the perspective, and it was terrible. It was like one of the worst. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh, Jay, thank you so much for the sub. Hello. Hello, thank you so much for joining in. So yeah, you know, I appreciate that. Oh my gosh, 24, that's 2 freaking years, Jay. Thank you. And now you gotta tell us what your least favorite game is ever. But like, I was thinking more modern. Like for me, the start of my list I have was Guitar Hero Live. And this came out way after Guitar Hero did. And this was for the PS4. Guitar Hero Live literally took away everything that made Guitar Hero so special. Which you have the 5 strum buttons, right? And it's like 5 chords, whatever. And they're all colored. It took away the colors. It took away the whole format. You had 3 buttons on top, 3 at the bottom. It didn't make sense. And the music choice was absolute garbage. And then so much so that 3 years later, Guitar Hero was like, oh, you know what? If you bought it, you can return it. Like, we're going to allow returns 3 years later, and it shut down. So, like, now when I pop it in, you only get, like, 20 of the songs, which are literally trash. It took away everything that made Guitar Hero so damn special. I absolutely hated it. And I'm even more pissed that I missed the return window of the 3 years by, like, a week. I missed it by, like, a week. I would have given it up. Like, it was terrible. And especially for me, I was an expert level and I still play Guitar Hero. It's something I still play and love. I was really good at it, still am, and they ruined it. I could never learn I was like too old by that time to learn a whole new method of playing guitar. Jay says Destiny right now is the worst. I mean, I've never played Destiny. It's not my thing. I'm not shocked. Anthem is on that list, though, of being a terrible game because people said, right? Anthem failed.
I'm a little surprised that Destiny is not your thing because you're into first person.
Yeah, but just because it's first person, it has to be realistic shooter. I really like realistic shooters. I don't really like the whole fantasy type space. Titanfall was like my favorite game, and that was like as far out as I'll go as far as like sci-fi or anything that's not realistic shooter. Yeah, I'm a realism person for that. I'm not shocked. Destiny is not something I like, but Anthem failed mainly because Destiny was already a thing, and then everyone was like, "Oh, Anthem's gonna be the best game ever, best game," and it was so buggy and had line. It was terrible. It failed.
Yeah, but I also remember hearing that about not Hearthstone, the other one that Blizzard did. I can't think of it.
Well, don't
The
worry.
Tracer one. Why can't I think of the name?
The Tracer one. No idea.
That team shooter that they did. It's on
Team.
the tip of my tongue. I can see all the characters,
All right,
and
checking
I
of
cannot
you.
think of the name of the game.
Rib the Ribbon. What the hell is that game? What did we do here? Do you guys want to know what it really... Okay, we're not talking about good games. I gotta stop taking it back to go. We're focused on the worst. Okay, what's like the most recent game you played that's terrible?
Overwatch, by the way. Overwatch was what
Overwatch.
I was
Yeah,
thinking.
Overwatch. Yeah, it's terrible. I actually hate Overwatch. It is not for me. That is not... People love that game. I don't get it.
People loved that
They
game.
love it. I don't get it. I think it's terrible. I literally think it's terrible. Outriders. That's I've never actually played that. I'm gonna have to play that then. Jay, if you suggest it, I'll do it. All right. Yeah, realistic shooters are the move, but you know what was the worst rated 2019 game? Something that doesn't shock me, and I've complained about it before. Ghost Recon Breakpoint was rated the worst game in 2019. And that is for so many obvious reasons. I can go on a tangent about what made this game terrible, but I'll keep it short. You had no AI teammates unless you played online crap, like with actual people. No AI. So even though Ghost Recon, in its history, you always had teammates with you at your side. It was totally pay to play. If you wanted good weapons, you had to pay for it to help progress. You had the bug.
I hate that.
Yeah, me too.
I hate
Me
that
too.
beyond.
It was so bad. You had terrible bugs. It made it unplayable, and it only focused on stealth rather than like because you were by yourself, and the repetitiveness, the story, it was just all around the worst Ghost Recon. And what did Ubisoft do? Instead of give us our money back, they just apologized. And now I think you can have AI years later when no one's even playing it anymore. My game was so bugged. It was so terrible. Oh my God. It was like literally, and it was rated. Like, it's not just me. I mean, it was rated in 2019. There was a PS2 truck racing game. Oh my gosh. I think I have that game. It was terrible. It was a racing game. It was a racing game. I have that. And it was actually, I would have to agree, it was trash. It was trash. No, that one.
And
Yeah, it was trash.
the thing with PS2 is, and PS2 and racing games too, is it was so hit or miss on everything.
It
too.
really
Like,
was.
you had Off-Road 4x4, which was terrible,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think Mud Trucker, that was terrible. But something that you could find consistently during the PS2 era in the bargain $5 bin, and then sometimes marked down half price.
True.
Ford Racing 2 on the PS2
Oh man, that was.
actually holds up. I have a copy of it. It
I
holds
do.
up.
I actually, that is the only, like, I would agree. 1000% agree with that. Everyone like talked really bad shit about. I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it was playable. That is a game that I have played multiple times.
The
Oh man.
controls were tight.
Yeah.
The racetracks were realistic.
Yep.
The physics were, that was a fantastic game for $5.
Totally agree. Totally agree. See, it's always games like that, like, but you know what? I think games have just declined over the years. Like, I thought Riders Republic, and that's another one on my list, was the worst, was like a waste of my time. And I can't even believe I put $60 into this game. Because Steep was Ubisoft's game prior, which was like beautiful, it was immersive, and it really felt like you were playing these sports. And then Riders Republic, it was like so cheesy, it was like a gimmick. It was just terrible. And the fact that they're still updating this game, it's like shocking to me. Like, I really can't understand. So Riders Republic definitely gets it. Steep was one of my favorite sporting games, with like, snow sports, all that. Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy was a good game, but it shipped on PS2 with game-breaking bug that soft locked. Oh, how many saves. Man, the memory card days.
That was one of the things too with the memory card.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And there were at times too, and there were some of these games out there that just, it was so easy to soft lock yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's what's crazy. It's like I still have all of my memory cards, and it's like, usually it ran out of space, or sometimes it would say, like, my GameCube one has always said that it's corrupt. I don't even know how, because all you did back then was just plug it in, right? You just like literally inserted it. So like it always said it was corrupt, so I gave up on it. Man,
It
yeah.
was the era of ports too.
Yeah.
Bad port.
Yeah.
I have played 2 terrible ports, both for console, both for PC games that I absolutely love.
Which,
There was a PlayStation port of Diablo
yeah.
that just did not work. It
Okay.
couldn't like it.
It like just didn't.
It's a point and click adventure does not translate to isometric, no matter how many times you try to do it.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
And but that was actually at least somewhat playable. StarCraft 64,
Hmm.
hands down, one of the worst. Because you're trying to translate isometric point and click
Yes, it doesn't
onto
work.
a controller. Yeah.
It doesn't work. I totally agree. It like ruins everything that was likable about it. It ruined it.
And I love StarCraft.
Right. You do. How you do. But see, if you even say it's bad, that's how you know. Like,
Yeah, Viking Hack says the same thing. Any RTS on console,
yes,
so
it
lost
is.
cause by default.
It really is. It sucks because it's like, if it's not broke, don't fix it, you know? But they try
Oh, my
it.
headphones are dying.
Oh, you're good. The next one I have, guys, would be Mafia 3, which was a terrible game in my opinion compared to Mafia. I love Mafia games. I've played both Godfathers and I've played Mafia 1 and 2, and I thought 3 was just not it. It was clunky. It was awkward. It didn't even feel like a Mafia game. So that's definitely on my list as one of the worst. But Battlefield 20, whatever it is, the newest Battlefield, oh my God, 2042 was rated by the internet like one of the worst games that had come out of the decade. It is on their list. Which I am not a Battlefield person, but I did hear terrible things about that game. And so that is on there. And one that I mentioned, how incredibly racist GTA San Andreas was in my retrospect. I mean, the thing with Rockstar is they don't care, right?
Yeah.
Rockstar doesn't, they actually don't care. Rockstar is literally the people that have like pushed the limit on everything, and we still play it. They're never going to get canceled because they're Rockstar. Like if any
It's
other,
like South Park, but for video games.
exactly. It's like basically, it's like it's kind of like South Park. South Park gets away with everything, right? Because they're South Park.
Yeah.
And I kind of view of the video game world, Rockstar being the South Park of gaming. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's completely jaw-dropping, but we all play it. Like, doesn't make it like what they do is correct. It's the South Park. They just don't care. They don't care. I mean, GTA is, I mean, the sixth one, we're never even gonna get it for a while, but GTA has been consistent as far as their gaming goes. So like they're not on nobody's list of bad. What's up, Snow?
When I get a controller, I actually want to. Well, actually, no, I don't think they have controller support for it. But the PC version of Vice City, I have Vice City on my computer.
God, Vice City was terrible to
because
me. Hated Vice
I
City.
cannot translate keyboard. Like
With-
I can do just fine with keyboard and walking around, but the
Yeah, yeah.
driving I just cannot.
You can't.
Although after playing Mass Effect, the macro
Right.
controls are the same. I might be able to do it now, but
Right. No, that you can't. Okay, you weren't fired, Snow. You chose not to. Okay, moving on. For this guy spreading lies. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare was on the list of both mine and the internet, as far as and I'll tell you why. Infinite Warfare was I liked the story. I don't think it was the best, but I was invested in the story. But the multiplayer was horrendous, and it's the multiplayer alone and the maps that really sucked that caused it to be on the list. It was a short-lived game, but the story, terrible. It was actually terrible. And the camera angle, yeah, and Silent Hill were ass. Absolutely. Absolutely. Silent Hill. But you know what? PT was really great. And the fact that we never get PT and someone is actually selling PT installed on their PS4 for like thousands of dollars on eBay. It's kind of crazy. It was a time you had to get in.
didn't they do that for a while with phones that still had Flappy Bird installed on them
Yeah,
that were going for like thousands of
yeah,
dollars.
yeah. The old school cameras angles added to the scariness. It actually added to my anger. It did add to my anger. But yeah, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare was like a loss. And of course, I'm going to say Last of Us Part 2 for obvious reasons. Just storyline alone. Yeah, gameplay, I'm not even going to get because obviously it's not for the gameplay. Storyline alone makes it the worst game, in my opinion, of the decade. We have, oh yeah, don't forget Fallout 76, guys. Terrible game. Terrible game.
I have never played 76. I have it, but
Don't even
I don't know if I
bother.
just don't have enough graphics card for it, or well, I paid money for it.
You did pay money for it, so I guess you might as well. But it's yeah, like actually terrible. Not even worth it, in my opinion. Not even worth it. Let's see what else. Oh, Far Cry 6 was also on my list of there because I thought it was horrendous out of the entire Far Cry series. I thought 6 was the worst just because you put a celebrity in there to act does not make the game better. Todd Howard is the J.J. Abrams of games. That's funny. That's funny. Snow actually told me, and this is one that was reached out, Cyberpunk, and that was for the obvious failed release. I mean, the bugs were unplayable. Let's just get it straight. Cyberpunk made it absolutely terrible at launch, and it does get on there, and a lot of people agree that it is terrible. What about you, Jagger? I feel like, is there anything as of recent that you think has been terrible, or of the decade?
Well, you have to keep in mind that I have not had enough PC power to play games as of recent until like very recently. So
True.
I don't have experience with this kind of thing.
Okay, so that I have my number one, but I'm waiting for that because I like the game that I really hate the most. But I want to kind of go through the internet's perception of what the worst game was. So somebody actually said Sonic in 06 was bad, was terrible. Super Mario Run was on this list. Lords of the Fallen, League of Legends, love it.
I like Super Mario Run.
Did you? I actually
thought it was
didn't.
fun.
You did?
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that great, but I mean, I don't think it deserves to be the worst either. Mario Party 10, totally agree. That was a terrible one, and I'm a Mario Party fan, and that was just not it. Let's see, Dragon Ball Z Sagas. That's another one that was on the list. Homefront, which was a terrible game. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, which I don't do Harry Potter, so I can't speak on that. That was somebody's made up list, but I want to go on overall. E.T. was on this list. In the 90s, Action 52. It said that the game retailed for over $199, and it had poor controls and graphics and had weird glitches and technical problems. It was labeled the worst game of the 90s. Had you ever play that?
No, I've never heard of that one.
Man, I did not. Yeah. Man, Harry Potter games were misses until the Half-Blood Prince. The only one I played, I don't know if you guys can help me out, that I actually like because, you know, it was way back. It was on the original Xbox. And that's all I can tell you. I'd have to pull it out from my catalog because I have the disc. I'd have to pull it out, but it was on the original Xbox and it was actually fun. So I don't know which one that would be, but Hotel Mario was also under one of the worst for the 90s. Mortal Kombat Mythology, Sub-Zero. Spider-Man 3 for PS2 was trash. I beat it in fire. Yeah, I agree. That one was terrible. 1000%. The Simpsons Wrestling, we're moving on to the 2000s. Labeled one of the worst. It was made for the PlayStation, and it said that it was too simplistic, unbalanced gameplay, and bad graphics.
Mega Man 2, by the way, going back to the 90s,
Yeah.
Mega Man 2, the Game Boy port,
Uh-huh.
which was they took bosses from 2 and 3.
Right.
I smoked through that in 4 hours. I bought it
Oh, then that's a waste
I
of
smoked through
time.
it in 4 hours, and I said, "Wow, this is a waste of money."
Yeah, that is a waste of money. Um, that I hate when games like I hate when I spend money. It's like 8 hours later now. Ninja
And
Bread
again, I'm
Band.
a big Mega Man fan, so that should have been right up. Well, it was right up my alley until 4 hours later when it was all done.
Yeah, true. I mean, the thing is, yeah, I'm not shocked. I'm really not shocked. All Game Boy ports are bad, like Donkey Kong. Yeah, seriously, seriously. Ninja Bread Band in 2005, the people beat it in 30 minutes, 30 minutes, and complained about the controls and the most obviously being a short length. It got a 1 out of 10, which is like one of the lowest rated games ever.
Mhm.
Ninja Bread Man. I never played it. Not interested. It was on the Wii. Um,
That was another meme console where they were just trying to slap whatever branded piece of material
facts.
they could have on there because the thing was so popular.
Facts. I will say Wii Sports though. I don't think there's a better game on there. Wii Sports got competitive in my household. Okay. Yeah, so we've talked about Spider-Man, the first one. We loved it on the PS2. We loved how much we loved it. Exactly. And I'll put the Harry Potter game up in Discord. I'll take a picture of whatever the one I have to remember what it is. Moving on, Final Fantasy, oh my god, what number is this? 14. Was also actually in the 2010s was met with bad reviews for poor controls and confusing gameplay.
Yeah, I remember that when that came out. And I didn't
So
have anything that could play it, but I remember the controversy around that when it came out.
So yeah, people were bitching about this one. We all talked. I'm not a Final Fantasy person. But this one also got terrible reviews. Sim City in 2013 said it was the worst Sims ever to have been released. You had to wait up to 30 minutes to play. There was no offline mode, which is really sucks because that was the whole point of Sims. Literally. So I don't understand why they would have made that. I'm not a Sims person. I get bored with games like that.
Viking Hag says Final Fantasy X-2 is probably the single biggest disappointment I've seen since I discovered mirrors. Final Fantasy X-2 honestly had potential because, I mean, Final Fantasy X was just being ripped off the shelves constantly. And there were so many people that loved the storyline for there. I think the biggest problem with Final Fantasy X-2 was it was rushed.
Right.
Because they were trying to capture that thunder again. I think a good amount of developers with a bigger development window could have made a solid Final Fantasy X-2.
I see.
But that's not what we got.
So did they release it like during the hype? They wanted everyone to just keep like riding the wave of it? Like you think it's
I think it was within 2 years of Final Fantasy
okay,
X
that's
coming
too
out.
early. That's too damn early. Yeah. No
For
kidding.
a Final Fantasy game on top of it?
Yeah, that's kind of I mean God of War, we waited years. Like, you know what I mean? Which would never be on anyone's terrible list, obviously, because it's such a good game. These two that I'm about to say, I've looked at like multiple websites, okay? And with people reaching out, they were like on everybody's list, which was Alone in the Dark, Illumination, and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5. I mean, these are the two that everybody was talking about, along with E.T., as we've mentioned earlier. These three were like constantly being brought up. It just got a 19% score, by the way, Alone in the Dark. It was ugly. It said, these are the words that you use, ugly in every sense of the word, not just visually. It's about as attractive, and this is critics, it's as attractive as an anus in an eye socket, was the words used. So this game clearly was not it, okay? And for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5, it was just poor quality, performance issues, environmental clipping, and physics issues. So clearly the guy was taken off. That didn't make sense, which is, you know, you kind of need physics in a game like skateboarding. So that was in there. And it was that bad. It was that bad. The only Tony Hawk game I've ever played was on GameCube. And it was like, that's it, whatever that one. It had orange on the cover. I'm not into skateboarding either. A lot of things I'm not into, you guys will realize. But it was a fun game. I played it for a long time, like when it was. Oh no, I did buy Skate. I think on the PS1. That was it. But I'm not the type to keep buying and buying and buying the same skateboarding thing. And
By the way, I
moving.
looked it up, and Final Fantasy X-2 came out 21 months after Final Fantasy X.
That's so soon. Yeah, that's just not enough time. And yes, no, it is Tony Hawk Underground. Absolutely. It was that. That was a good time. That was fun for its time. You know, Fallout, you know, we said 76, everybody. One that I was not shocked at, because I've played this game many times on the list, was Slenderman, The 8 Pages. And as somebody who has played this game multiple times, it is so incredibly difficult for absolutely no reason. Even if you have a map in that damn game, he still comes after you. It's like you can't even, like get it done. Like you'd have to watch tutorials to get it done. So it's just, it was one of the worst Slenderman that's out there, because everybody on that, everyone was like raving about Slenderman at one point. But it was
those murders, those were not far from where I was living at the time.
the real story. Those girls.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. Those girls are not well. Thank God the woman
that was Southeast Wisconsin.
I'm thankfully the victim
but
survived. Thank God. Right? She did survive. I'm pretty sure she survived. But like, dude, Duke Nukem is also on the list, man. You're right. It is on the list. They did complain about this. That was on the list. Oh yeah, Bomberman. This is one I really wanted to watch. It was, where did I just see that? I loved Bomberman, the original, but they remade Bomberman. It was like the second one they released. Or no, it was like a realistic version. Yeah, Act Zero. Bomberman Act Zero. Horrendous. Horrendous.
I've never heard of that one.
It's okay. Bomberman is such a fun game from Konami. Like I literally spent my childhood was perfecting Bomberman. But it was like cartoonish, right? But then they tried to make it like first person, which was horrendous on the camera angles. And then they tried making it realistic, which took away everything that made Bomberman so good. And oh man, it was terrible. And it was in 2006, the worst game. It just ruined the series. It's just ruined the series. Wait, the dude who committed those murders, her grandma was my 6th grade science teacher? Ain't no way. That's crazy. I thought that girl survived.
In that region of Vaughn was in that region of Wisconsin.
It's scary. That's crazy.
I didn't realize it was in Waukesha. I thought it was one of the smaller towns further west.
Did the girl not survive? I could have sworn she did. Did she not survive? I thought the girl did survive the stab wounds. I think she did.
I'm looking it up right now.
I don't think she died. I think she survived. Thank God. I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I could remember reading the documentary that she did survive. All right, well, J. Edgar looks that up. Yeah, she did survive. Yeah. She survived. Thank God. Holy moly. I mean, Slenderman started, this is German folklore, by the way, and like somehow took off with that spaghetti monster, whatever it is, spaghetti, whatever website they were on, whatever it was called at the time. It was, yeah, creepypasta. I knew it was something with spaghetti. There you go. It is crazy, but this game was terrible. I want to hear everyone's number one. I know we talked about all over the place with our bad games, but I have like my number one ready to go, and I want to hear like what everyone's number one. We're done with like, this was a bad game. Let's hear everyone's top rated game. J. Edgar, go ahead. You can.
Why would that be the bottom rated or
like the highest, like the one that like no, we're not talking favorites at all. We're talking worst. Okay. Your number one terrible.
Rated. The worst game you've ever played.
Worst game, yeah, ever.
StarCraft 64.
StarCraft 64 is locking in. Locking in. Oh my God, you were called for the jury duty. Oh my God, I couldn't even. Whoo. Dude, oh my God. Yeah, I watched the movie. It was like on Lifetime because, Lifetime never gets anything right. Sorry, but that's why I was like, yeah, that's why I always have to look it up. Like, Cyberpunk after they fixed it. Okay. Tomb Raider Dark Angel, and we got Mario Strikers Battle League. Okay. Okay. Well, thankfully you weren't called for a jury. I would have... Those girls needed to be put in an institution or other things. About BC 83, that being the worst. Got you. And then suing the publisher. I got you, Viking. Good? Oh, not for that case. I see what you're saying. I got you. Okay, I like that this is all different than like what everyone's... I like this. Everyone has a different opinion. Yeah, the worst number... We're not talking about favorites, Manny. Read the title. It says worst games in history. And where does that say good games? Worst. I'm talking the worst of the worst. Like the game that like you think is so garbage that like the people who invented it shouldn't have a job. Okay, Mario Strikers Battle League. He's sticking with it. For me, my worst game that I have ever played in my life was Life is Strange 2. By far, hands down, the worst game I have ever played. A colossal waste of my like 8 hours or however long it took me to beat it. It was a horrendous storyline. It was horrendous gameplay. The characters, I literally wish it was like a game of Call of Duty where we can just end it and like we just don't play them. They don't come back. They don't come back. Yeah, it was the worst game I have ever played. Easily, hands down. I think Sean and Daniel were the worst characters to have ever existed in any gameplay. It didn't make sense. The whole storyline was actual garbage. Not to mention when they were sleeping on the cliff of like, where was it in Arizona? Where is that called? Grand Canyon. I actually wish that they jumped off of it. Like both of the characters. I wanted, if there was a way out of that game, literally the worst. Star Fox Command. Okay, so we got someone agree with you, Jagger. There we go. There we go. It was literally the worst. And FIFA franchise. Yeah, FIFA does get a bad... Yeah, FIFA's like... It's bad. I do hear terrible things about FIFA. But yeah, for me, it's got to be Life is Strange 2. It's got to be... I think that... So, I remember that they had like a little... like not DLC, but there was a game you got for free to give you context on one of the stories. And that little one, it was like Captain Spirit or something. And that was way better than the actual game. Yeah, with the two brothers. Yeah. Yep. The worst. I'm not kidding. I watched YouTube videos and I was in tears listening to people rant about this game. Because it was so wrong. It was the worst. I mean, again, I don't really like anything past the first one. But it was horrendous. Like, garbage, burn it. Whoever wrote this game should not be hired to do anything else in life. I mean, nothing was realistic. The mom comes in and she like abandoned you and we're supposed to be made to feel bad for her. And like I said, they were just, the protagonists were so damn unlikable that I was just playing to get through the end and I didn't care about the ending. I just didn't care. It was horrendous. It was the worst game I've ever played. And then when you were on the weed farm, they had like the whole thing for 20 minutes. You were just sitting there pressing buttons, like trimming buds of marijuana. Horrendous. Like, it was just... so bad. Like, never play that game. To me, it doesn't even exist in my mind. Crisis, it was a good game. Is Crisis the same one as like the arcade game, Viking? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, the first game, I hated the whole thing, and then yeah, no, the first game is like the best, but then 2 and on, but like nothing is as worse as 2. True Colors was still pretty trash, but nothing comes close to number 2. It was, and especially for someone who has like a sister, that's just not how siblings would interact with each other. It was just so unreal. It was so unreal. Like I said, I can go on. It was the worst game. And Redfall. Redfall was a terrible game too, Manny. You are correct. Redfall was a terrible game. Okay, why you consider that one? Do you like Redfall?
I don't know that one.
Oh, you don't know that one. I thought you said, okay, system requirements optimization. Oh, okay, abysmal. I see. Yeah, like, when the requirements are out of this world for a game that's, like, not even good, it's like, and I would agree, sporting games are all like kind of collectively bad. But I do like the hockey games. I do play them because I like hockey. But so I mean, you're gonna play Fallout 76, Jagger, and you're gonna see how bad it'll be on your list.
It might be.
You
I
need
need a
a
new
PC.
graphics card first.
Got you. I didn't know a PC you needed that game for powerful. Did they really want? They really expected people to have that powerful of a PC for a game like that? I did not know
Apparently.
this. I guess not. I did not know this because everything I played really has been, you know, console.
Welcome
but,
to the Big Bitty
oh my God, thank
Committee.
you for the bits, Jay. Thank you. I'm gonna find that Harry Potter game, guys. But yeah, to me, I mean, Life is Strange 2, it just doesn't get worse. It's just so unrealistic. I would have liked to see at least a story with sisters and not brothers. But I mean, even the brother just didn't make sense. And then it got, you know, they added politics to it, which was like a whole nother turnoff.
Oh, like The Last of Us.
It did, but it was just a different form of it was just like that. I hate when they start doing that, and it was like and because Life is Strange 2 came out like 20, I want to say like 16, I think 2017. So you can see where that's going. That they just made it political, and the whole storyline was just based on. It was just so bad. It was so bad. Like graphics, I can forgive, right? Because we grew up on things that look terrible. So I can forgive graphics. What I can't forgive is a bad story. And that is why Life is Strange, not Life is Strange. Well, that and Last of Us Part 2, definitely. It's all the Part 2ers, all the number 2s that get taken down.
Sequelitis, man.
Yeah, it's sad. It's always like, if they always try changing things and making it terrible. Just no one wants to see that. Mario Strikers Battle League, was you so excited for it because you love the Striker series, then you get an incomplete game. The core is so much smaller and decided to release all the characters within each update. Oh, that is disappointing. That is disappointing. I mean, there's so many bad games, but like, I grew up with Rage Racer and Power Slave. Those were, yeah. But see what I'm saying? Like, bad graphics back then, like I said, I give it a pass. We worked with what we got, you know? People used to tell me all the time that, like, GameCube, like, oh, the graphics are so terrible. But to me, it's like, I'm having a good time playing the best games ever. So, you know, wasn't like that. We're going to have to... My sister definitely had played Rage Racer, for sure. I've seen her play that. And, but to me, it's not bad. Like, looking back now, it's bad. But back then, it's all we knew, right? So I can forgive it, but a storyline, you just can't forgive. So, before we head out of here, guys, I always end it on a quote, all right? And we're going to end on, this one comes from Gears of War 2, and it reads, "Life is cruel, of this I have no doubt. One can only hope that one leaves behind a lasting legacy, but so often the legacies we leave behind are not the ones we intended." Move. Deep.
Nice.
Right? I mean, bad games, like I said, it was so much fun talking about this. I mean, it's just kind of like a bitching session, but isn't that what it always is? But if you guys have any more terrible games, right? If there's any other games you guys didn't want to mention, like, go in the Discord and write that up in the main discussion, and we can go back and forth of this. And first of all, Jagger, I want to thank you for being here today. I want to thank you for chat, for joining in the conversation. And thank you for the sub from Toronto native Jay and the Bits Jay. Thank you so much for the 2 freaking years. I think it's 20. Where did Toronto native go? I don't remember how many months, but thank you so much. Next week, I have no idea what we're going to talk about yet, because this one, you know, this one was a fun one, but
yeah.
I'll let you guys know when we get there, honestly. This video will be posted up onto YouTube later for those that want to watch it at home. And for those that are on YouTube, let us know what your least favorite games have been. We could do top rated games. Okay, Manny. I mean, we could. We actually could. I don't hate it. But TBD, I like that, though. If all else fails and there's nothing like going on, let's do top rated games. We will see you all guys on the next one. Y'all take care. We will see you all next week.